You read it in the original French, damn. That would be cool, actually. Ooh, and this copy also has a commentary on The Stranger, which I've never read. I just realized that. This is 100 pages, and it has the full Existentialism as a Humanism, and it also has a commentary on The Stranger. So I totally forgot about that. This is actually only 72 pages long. So we should be able to read this in like just a couple months. The Stranger is good. That's another one I've wanted to read for like a long time for book club. Oh, and I think it was Bamboo. I saw you say in the Discord, like right before I went live, like you were, like people are intimidated by the title, but it's actually a very small essay, and it's actually I won't say it's super beginner friendly, but it's actually it's surprisingly beginner friendly. L'existentialisme est un humanisme by Jean-Paul Sartre. Translated by Carol McComber. There is expert, advanced, and then beginner, and then Twitch audience friendly. Which is not a dig at you guys, it's just, it's a pretty wide swath. I gotta read at a 8th grade level minimum, or maximum. Anything more than that and people start getting angry. Hello Morningstar, hello anybody I haven't said hi to. Feel free, I will be reading it in the original French, of course. Your mother was a hamster and your father smelled of elderberries. The end. Two pages in and a random chatter is gonna be like, does she hula hoop still? It's been 84 years. I don't know if she dances anymore. Alright, I'm feeling the responsibility and pressure of my ancestors right now. And the last time I tried to read this out loud on Twitch, I was a baby. I was actually a child. The last time I tried to read this essay, I was like 21 years old. And I was reading it to people who were like even younger than I was, and I remember some random Twitch streamer raided into my channel while I was reading Existentialism as a Humanism, and from like the vibe, you know, like I was like 21 or 22, but from the vibe of these chatters and this streamer that came in, it was like some girl. I never even like checked out what the channel was about or anything. I don't even know. Maybe it was just like a troll raid. I don't know. Because they raided in while I was reading this for the first time. And from the vibe, I felt like, you know, like I was like 21. I felt like they were like 18. They were like 17 and 18-year-olds. And they were like just raiding in, and they were like, I don't know, like typing in all caps and like saying like stupid stuff, but like nothing like crazy. They were just like, I don't remember what they were saying, but it was so silly. And then their whole fucking chat was like going all the time, and they were like, say hi to streamers, say hi to us, say hi to us. And I just progressively kept reading this book louder and louder and progressively more aggressively. Like I just started shouting as I was reading because they were so distracting. It was a mess. But it was fun. It was really fun, actually. Like, I was having fun. I felt like they were having fun. It was a mess, though. It was a goddamn mess. We were all having fun, but I don't think any of us were enjoying it. They were like, hey, what you doing? What you doing? What you doing? Existentialism is a humanism. That's all I got. Oh, I guess I have also one more fun backstory. We've lost 10 viewers. I'm not going to take it personally. Another fun backstory about this book is I was like a teenager when I found it. So I wasn't even 20. I was like a teenager, and I think I was like a freshman or something. I was in high school, and I liked poetry, and I liked literature, and I was like, I like philosophy, but I was like, oh, philosophy's so hard to get into, you know? But every now and again, I would go to a bookstore, and I would peruse the philosophy section, and you know what caught my eye one day when I was like 14 years old? Literally 14. I was 14 years old and I was like, oh, I should get into philosophy more. And then I was like, Plato? No. Aristoteles? No. And then I saw this little book and I was like, oh, that's manageable. It's so small. And I think it was even on like the front end. And I thought it was funny that it had a picture of a chair on it. You know, I was like, how hard could it be? Got a picture of a chair, like maybe like at a park or something. It looks like it's like at a park. And I was like, little did I know I was picking up like one of the most fucking important philosophy pieces of the 20th century. I was just like, oh, like how, it wasn't intimidating, you know? I was like, oh, I like it. They don't even capitalize the words. And it had a chair on the front, and it was like this big, and I was like, I could read that. Yeah, I could get into philosophy. I read philosophy already, but I was like, I need something light, you know? Like, I need something to read on the toilet. And this was it. Existentialism is a humanism. Okay, and then one more thing. So I read this when I was a baby. And this, I'm reading it again for the first time with you guys. I have not read this book since my brain fully developed. And also, I don't even know what communism was. And that's actually, communism is mentioned on the first page. That is the main reproach made by the communists. I was reading this at 14 years old, and I was like, okay, whatever that means, bud. But I just read it. Like, you know, sometimes you gotta let it wash over you. And now I'm excited to see what it means to me now. Let's go. Sorry, I was trying to do a French accent, but I forgot I can't do those. My purpose here... My purpose here is to defend existentialism against some charges that have been brought against it. First, it has been blamed for encouraging people to remain in a state of quietism and despair. For if all solutions are barred, we have to regard any action in this world as futile. And so at last we arrive at a contemplative philosophy. And inasmuch as contemplation is a luxury, we are only espousing yet another kind of bourgeois philosophy. These are the main reproaches made by the communists. Others have condemned us for emphasizing what is despicable about humanity, for exposing all that is sordid, suspicious, or base, while ignoring the beauty and the brighter side of human nature. For example, according to Miss Mercier, a Catholic critic, we have forgotten the innocence of a child's smile. One group after another censures us for overlooking humanity's solidarity and for considering man as an isolated being. This, contend the communists, is primarily because we base our doctrine on pure subjectivity, that is, on the Cartesian I think. Contend the communists, our doctrine is too subjective. We base it on the Cartesian I think, on the very moment in which man fully comprehends his own isolation, rendering us incapable of reestablishing solidarity with those who exist outside of the self and who are inaccessible to us through the cogito. Christians, on the other hand, reproach us for denying the reality and the validity of human enterprise. For inasmuch as we choose to ignore God's commandments and all values thought to be eternal, all that remains is the strictly gratuitous. Everyone can do whatever he pleases and is incapable, from his own small vantage point, of finding fault with the points of view or actions of others. It is these various charges that I wish to address today, which is why I have entitled this brief discourse, Existentialism is a Humanism. Many will be surprised by what I have to say here today about humanism. We shall attempt to discover in which sense we understand it. In any case, let us begin by saying that what we mean by existentialism is a doctrine that makes human life possible and also affirms every truth and every action. It also affirms that every truth and every action imply an environment and a human subjectivity. It is public knowledge that the fundamental reproach brought against us is that we stress the dark side of human life. Recently, someone told me about a lady who, whenever she inadvertently utters some vulgar expression, in a moment of anger, excuses herself by saying, "I think I'm becoming an existentialist." So it would appear that existentialism is associated with something ugly, which is why some people call us naturalists. If we are, it is strange that we should frighten or shock people far more than naturalism per se frightens or offends them. Those who easily stomach a Zola novel like The Earth are sickened when they open an existentialist novel. Those who find solace in the wisdom of the people which is a sad, depressing thing, find us even sadder. Yet, what could be more disillusioning than such sayings as, charity begins at home, or even, appoint a rogue and he'll do you damage, knock him down and he'll do you homage. Homage. Appoint a rogue and he'll do you damage, knock him down and he'll do you homage. We all know of countless such popular sayings, all of which always point to the same thing. One should not try to fight against the establishment. One should not be more royalist than the king, or meddle in matters that exceed one's station in life. Any effort not based on proven experience is doomed. Since experience does show that men are invariably inclined to evil, there must be strict rules to restrain them. Otherwise, anarchy ensues. However, since it is the very same people who are forever spouting these dreary old proverbs, the ones who say it is so human whenever some repugnant act is pointed out to them, the ones who are always harping on realistic litanies, who also accuse existentialism of being too gloomy. It makes me wonder if what they are really annoyed about is not its pessimism, but rather its optimism. For when all is said and done, could it be that what frightens them about the doctrine that I shall try to present to you here is that it offers men the possibility of individual choice? To verify this, we need to reconsider the whole issue on a strictly philosophical plane. What, then, is existentialism? It's going to be hard to find breaking points in this. Another fun fact, Jean-Paul Sartre gave this was a speech, I believe. This was a speech given in, 1927 or some shit. I don't know. It was a speech given in, 1927 to a room full of people, and people, wrote down what he said. It's a speech. So it's actually going to be very hard to find a stopping point in here, but I'm not going to read the whole speech in one go. I'm not crazy. You are welcome. Good to have you, Topple. But actually, now that I'm remembering, there's 2 essays. There's a foreword written by the translator. This might only be 30 pages long. We might be done reading this in 2 weeks. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. What then is existentialism? Most people who use this word would be at a loss to explain what it means. For now that it has become fashionable, people like to call this musician or that painter an existentialist, a columnist, in Clartes goes by the pen name The Existentialist. Indeed, the word is being so loosely applied to so many things that it has come to mean nothing at all. It would appear that for a lack of an avant-garde doctrine analogous to surrealism, those who thrive on the latest scandal or fad have seized upon a philosophy that hardly suits their purpose. The truth is that of all doctrines, this is the least scandalous and the most austere. It is strictly intended for specialists and philosophers. Yet it can be easily defined. What complicates the matter is that there are two kinds of existentialists. On one hand, the Christians, among whom I would include Karl Jaspers and Gabriel Marcel, both professed Catholics, and both of them are professed Catholics. And on the other hand, the atheistic existentialists, among whom we should place Heidegger, as well as the French existentialists, and myself. What these two, Christian and atheistic existentialists, have in common is simply their belief that existence precedes essence. Or, if you prefer, subjectivity must be our point of departure. What exactly do we mean by that? And I will also take a piss break now. Subjectivity will be our point of departure. Thank you for writing Er Laribugus Existens.